Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, June 22nd. Good Chodesh to everyone. Today is the first day of Rosh Chodesh Tammuz, and I hope that everyone had an enjoyable weekend. A little bit of an uptick in the temperature and humidity, but quite pleasant nonetheless, and it certainly didn't rain as much as we were promised. So if we could say one good thing about all this is the last number of days we've had excellent weather. Please make sure to join us today at 5:30 p.m. here at Shul, as we'll have our graduation celebration. Graduates, kids, anybody is welcome. Please come by, have some ice cream, say hello, distance accordingly with your mask, put ice cream on your mask, whatever it is that you want to do. But again, it's just a way to just show our appreciation and acknowledgement of all of our graduates whose names will all be posted. That's at 5:30. Please remember to sign up for the minyanim, of course, as we are still working with that system. I also ask you to please continue to daven for Refuah Shalema, for Mordechai ben Elka, Rabbi Rafal Zev ben Rickel, Gittel bas Sarah, Noah Alice, Spat Lilach Esther, Rezel bas Sarah, and all those who need our healing, our prayers, and our good thoughts. And I know how much it is appreciated by all the family members of those who are not well, to know that there are people davening on their behalf, so please continue to do so. Also, please continue to pay attention and contribute and participate in our virtual campaign. We will have a real event, but as of now, the contributions are virtual. Virtual Journal is live. Please show your friendship and your honor and esteem for Barbara and Andy Hutter for their decades of service and participation here at Eitz Chaim as the original, from the original of the originals, and our thanks to Yoni Glad for his 10 years of service as our youth director. As we know more, of course, we'll know when the live event will be, but in the meantime, please, as a support for our shul, continue to contribute. And again, I want to thank everyone for volunteering to contribute for these videos, which, Baruch Hashem, has been a nice addition, certainly helping the income for the shul. We do have a couple of slots open this week, so please let me know or let the office know if you would like to sponsor a video. But today's video is being sponsored by my tie. See, the reason I'm wearing a tie today is because we just celebrated a beautiful simcha here in Shul as Jonathan Lefkowitz had his Afruf. So Marcy and Jeff are sponsoring the video today in honor of their son Jonathan's Afruf. Jonathan will be getting married in a few days to Leora Wolkoff, so Mazel Tov to the entire mishpacha, and Mazel Tov to Jeffrey's parents who were here today, to Judy and Zoltan Lefkowitz, and of course to Marcy's family in Chicago, and to Jonathan's siblings, to Michael, Olivia, and to Ethan. Of course, you know that even though they don't technically live here, but once you're in Eitz Chaim, you're always in Eitz Chaim. So Jeff, and a former president of the shul, and his name is on the wall, and it's on there forever. But the boys actually the older boys had their bar mitzvahs here in shul, and today we had the privilege of learning from their Sefer Torah grant, which was dedicated by their grandparents about 15 years ago. And we have a Ben Gavra Legavra cover, which is a cover that is used to cover the Sefer Torah in between each aliyah, also sponsored and given by the Lefkowitz family. So the connection between Lefkis and our shul runs quite deep. And something that I mentioned earlier in shul this morning is that actually the personal connection between the Klibanoff family and the Lefkowitz family, and I did a little bit of math, is approaching almost 40 years. Almost 40 years since our families have known one another, and it's something that is very, very much treasured. So Mazel Tov, and Mazel Tov to Jonathan. So I had a Dvar Torah, which applies to Rosh Chodesh, but very much an important lesson, not only for a chassan and kala, for a bride and a groom, but I think for a Jew in every single day life. In the introduction to a sefer called Ein Yaakov, which is a sefer that covers all of the Agadic portions of the Talmud. So the Talmud is full of halachic conversations. We do this, we do that. Some say this, some say that. But there's also a tremendous amount of Agadic portions, which are stories, things that don't seem to be halachic in nature. They may even be odd. And Ein Yaakov is a sefer that covers all of them. So in the introduction to the Ein Yaakov sefer, the author quotes a fascinating medrash. And the medrash says, and the medrash asks, what verse in the Torah encompasses all of Jewish living? Or as if to say, what's the most important verse that we have in the Torah? And the first opinion that's given is by Ben Zoma. Ben Zoma, of course, we know from Pirkei Avos and from other places in the Mishnah and the Talmud. B'Zoma says the most important pasuk is Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is your God, the Lord is one, which we could certainly understand. Having faith in God, accepting the yoke of heaven, Shema Yisrael, the relationship between God and man. Ben Nana says, the next opinion in the Mishnah, Ben Nana says, no, it's V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You shall love your neighbor like you love yourself. Interpersonal relationships, how we treat other human beings, that's the most important verse that we can learn from the Torah. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. And a third opinion that's brought is Ben Pazi. Ben Pazi says, no, it's actually a verse that comes from this morning's Torah reading on Rosh Chodesh, which we read every single month, which we say, Es hakevas echad ta'aseh v'boker v'es hakevas hashani ta'aseh bein harabayim. It talks about an offering, a korban. A korban, one, the keves, the lamb, which was brought in the morning, ta'aseh v'boker, v'es hakevas hashani, and the second one, bein harabayim. This is brought every single day, these offerings. So, the first two answers I can understand. Lofty psukim, dealing with the relationship of man and God. Or the relationship of humanity, interpersonal, how we react to one another, how we respond to one another, how we interact with one another. But the third one, and by the way, the Mishnah says, halachas ke Ben Pazi, that Ben Pazi is right. What does that have to do? What's so important about the offerings that we bring every day? And to this interpretation, I've heard this many times over the years, and I think it's something super important when it comes to marriage, when it comes to our Jewish lives, when it comes to our religious lives. And that half the battle is just sort of showing up. To do the same thing every morning and every night. To put on your tefillin every single day, and to say mincha and narav every single night. To be dedicated to the cause. And even though we may get tired of it, and even though we may feel it's redundant, and even though we may feel this is just simply out of rote, but to be able to do so consistently, to have consistency in anything that we do, that is the greatest pasuk in the Torah, says the Medrash. That's the greatest thing we can accomplish, by just doing it every single day. I think it's a great lesson for marriage. Anybody knows that any successful marriage takes a tremendous amount of work. You have to show up every day. You have to put in the work every single day, because nothing's going to happen on its own. You take two different people from two different worlds, two different lives, and you put them together. And you say, now form a household, form a union. Well, that's going to go through some bumps in the road. Sometimes they're difficult, and sometimes they're not so difficult. But the point is, you have to be consistent every single day. This is how we lead religious lives, observant lives, is that it requires of us to be consistent, to be there every single day. One thing I could say about the Lefkowitz family, and anybody who knows their kids, especially the chassan, John, and I know exactly where he learns his mannerisms and his lessons from, it's from his parents, is they're unbelievably consistent. Is that when you want something, when you need something, when you need to count on someone, they are consistently always there. As good friends, as people of good counsel, people that always want to bring you in and make you feel closer and make you feel welcome, but always with little fanfare. Never with a lot of flash. It's not about having your name somewhere. It's just about doing the right thing. And I know where they get that from their parents. So as we begin another week, and as we slowly try to get back to normal, it's wonderful to be able to celebrate a simcha. It's wonderful to be able to eat something in shul, by the way, behind the glass panels and everything, but it was wonderful to be able to eat something in shul. Just another step towards normalcy. And then we can all get back to that time when we say, Es hakeves echad taseh baboker, ve'es hakeves hashani taseh bein harabayim. We want to get back to our consistency. But let's all strive, let's all work to be as consistent as possible. So, Jonathan, Leora, Mazel Tov, we're so happy for you. Can't wait for the wedding. Marcy, Jeff, Mazel Tov, thank you for sharing your simcha here in our shul this morning. It was a pleasure to be a part of it, and we wish you only nachas and simcha going forward. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I'll see you all today at 5:30.